A former casino CEO just broke his silence about something the industry spent millions trying to keep quiet. 12 slot machines were removed from casino floors under suspicious circumstances, and the real reasons why could change how you think about gambling forever. Machine number 1. Mega Meltdown. This machine disappeared from an Atlantic City casino floor overnight in 2019, and what happened in the 72 hours before its removal cost the casino $340,000. According to internal audit reports obtained by former executives, a programming error in the random number generator seed caused the machine to trigger jackpots. It was never supposed to pay. The malfunction occurred once every 180 spins, and nobody noticed until players started hitting major wins at impossible frequencies. Former floor managers revealed they received instructions to remove the machines during shift changes when the fewest players would be watching. The casino faced a brutal decision because legally, malfunctions void all pays. They quietly settled with some winners while voiding others, hoping the story would never reach the press. Players who had their wins erased felt completely betrayed, and several threatened legal action before accepting settlement offers that came with strict non-disclosure agreements. But at least Mega Meltdown actually paid players something. Machine number 2 was removed for the exact opposite reason. Dragon's Fortune Gold arrived on major Vegas casino floors with an advertised return to player rate of 92%. Internal testing revealed the actual performance sat at 88.3% due to what technicians called bonus round miscalibration. Even by industry standards, this machine was performing so obviously unfairly that players actively avoided it. Occupancy rates dropped below 12%, and casino executives know anything under 65% occupancy means a machine is losing money just by taking up floor space. According to procurement records reviewed by former purchasing managers, this became one of only 3 machines in Nevada history removed for being too unfair to be profitable. A woman in Reno documented 400 consecutive spins without triggering a single bonus round. The manufacturer offered recalibration services, but major properties declined and demanded full refunds instead. Within 6 months of installation, Dragon's Fortune Gold vanished from casino floors across the state. Yes, and if you think a broken machine represents the worst kind of removal, wait until you hear about machine number 3, which was pulled because it was accidentally too generous to players. Machine number 3. Blazing Sevens Platinum Edition. This machine contained a configuration error that took casinos 14 months to identify, and during that time it paid out an estimated $2.3 million in what industry executives later classified as excess payouts. 47 installed units shipped from the factory with a return-to-player rate set at 94.8% instead of the intended 87.2%. His former slot directors who reviewed the financial data said this machine consistently underperformed profit expectations. But the numbers looked just subtle enough that casino analysts initially blamed poor floor placement and low player interest. According to internal memos obtained from former executives, the manufacturer eventually issued what they called a routine maintenance update. But former technicians revealed this was actually a silent recall designed to correct the RTP configuration without drawing attention to the mistake. Players who regularly visited these machines noticed something changed immediately after the service visits. One regular player in Biloxi tracked his session results for 9 months and documented that his average loss per hour jumped from $18 to $43 after technicians performed the so-called performance update. Yet the manufacturer instructed service technicians to tell any players who asked questions that software updates improve game performance, deliberately leaving out the critical detail about whose performance was being improved. But sometimes, machines are not removed due to technical errors or financial miscalculations. Machine number 4 was pulled from casino floors because of something much darker. Buffalo Thunder became associated with 23 documented incidents of players having complete emotional breakdowns, all at this specific machine model. Casino security reports revealed a disturbing pattern. The combination of near-miss frequency and what behavioral psychologists call almost bonus triggers created such extreme frustration that players exhibited violent responses. At a Connecticut property, as a player who had been at Buffalo Thunder for 6 consecutive hours without hitting a major bonus finally destroyed the machine with a chair. The casino group's risk management team analyzed the incident reports and made a corporate decision to remove all 89 units from their properties. A former risk management director later stated they feared this machine's psychological design could become evidence in future problem gambling lawsuits. But Buffalo Thunder was never officially recalled by the manufacturer. Instead, casinos quietly phased it out, and one specific case highlighted exactly why. A man lost $18,000 in a single session and filed a formal complaint citing what he called predatory psychological design. Machine number 5 was removed for an even more disturbing reason because it was not just targeting players, it was targeting a specific demographic. Golden Pearls. Deluxe was engineered specifically to appeal to elderly Asian women. Everything from the music selection to the symbol design to the bonus round themes was optimized through focus group testing. Even the chair height was adjusted for this demographic. Performance data reviewed by former marketing executives showed that 76% of players were women over 60, and average session length reached 4.3 hours. According to a former marketing vice president, internal focus group testing specifically measured something they called time-to-wallet exhaustion for the target demographic. Casino employee groups began complaining internally about the ethical implications, and management realized they faced a publicity nightmare if the story leaked to media outlets. Before that could happen, casinos preemptively removed the machines from all properties. One specific case accelerated the decision. A woman spent her entire $40,000 inheritance over 3 weeks, and her family threatened legal action. The casino settled quietly, and Golden Pearls Deluxe disappeared from floors shortly after. Now you might be wondering whether regulatory bodies ever force these removals, and machine number 6 answers that question in a way that exposes just how rarely regulators actually protect players. Before I reveal machine number 6, which was actually banned by gaming regulators in a rare enforcement action that exposed deep flaws in the oversight system, hit subscribe and comment on which of these machines you've played. Your stories help expose patterns the industry once buried. Machine number 6. Cash Eruption Extreme. This machine advertised 95% return to players right on its attractive screen, pulling in players who thought they were making an informed choice about a generous game. A single-player complaint triggered a Nevada Gaming Control Board audit that uncovered the actual return to players at 89.2%. The commission issued a removal order, and something that happens so rarely that former regulatory officials called it a once-in-a-decade occurrence. Casinos received 72 hours to pull every unit from their floors across the entire state. The manufacturer faced a $500,000 fine and 2-year probation on all new game approvals. As internal documents revealed during the investigation showed the 95% figure represented a theoretical maximum return if players made mathematically perfect decisions during the bonus round. But the game's design made those perfect decisions nearly impossible to identify. According to former game designers who reviewed the bonus mechanics, the optimal strategy required tracking 17 variables simultaneously while making split-second decisions under deliberate time pressure. Yet the class action lawsuit that followed resulted in a $1.2 million settlement, and the case led to stricter requirements for how casinos display return-to-player information industry-wide. But at least that removal happened to protect players from deceptive advertising. Machine number 7 was pulled for the opposite reason, to protect casino profits from players who discovered an exploitable vulnerability. But Prosperity Dragon vanished from casino floors during overnight emergency removals after advantage players discovered a specific betting pattern that doubled the bonus trigger frequency. Former slot directors explained the vulnerability involved alternating between maximum bet and minimum bet in a specific sequence that somehow confused the random number generator seed cycle. The technique spread through advantage player forums and online gambling communities, and casinos estimated losses at $800,000 before they identified the source. Players using the pattern were sometimes banned from properties even though they had broken no laws and used no illegal devices. The manufacturer denied any exploitable pattern existed, but those machines never returned to casino floors. Casinos told players asking questions that the machines were away for technical service, a convenient explanation that became permanent. Machine number 8 proves that casinos will remove even their most profitable machines if those machines attract the wrong kind of attention and create liability exposure that exceeds revenue. Megavault Jackpot generated $12,000 in average daily revenue per unit, the highest performance numbers in casino history. Security reports revealed the same 30 to 40 individuals accounted for 70% of that revenue, and those players exhibited every warning sign of severe gambling addiction. According to a former compliance officer, the legal team reviewed behavioral data and recommended removal, despite the exceptional profitability, because they feared being named in a wrongful death or suicide lawsuit where this machine played a central role. The removal happened gradually over several months to avoid drawing attention to the decision. Some casino groups now evaluate machines using problem player concentration metrics, tracking whether specific games attract disproportionate numbers of players, showing addiction indicators. We are getting to the final 4 machines, and these removals reveal the darkest secrets about where this industry is heading and why one casino CEO decided he could not stay silent anymore. Machine number 9, Triple Fortune Dynasty. A maintenance technician performing routine service in 2021 discovered something that should never exist inside a slot machine. Wedged behind the bill validator housing sat a miniature camera, positioned at a precise angle to capture the ATM keyboard 20 feet away. Players standing at that specific machine had a clear sightline to the cash machine, and someone had engineered a way to record every PIN number entered by players withdrawing money to continue gambling. The investigation expanded rapidly. 12 machines across 3 separate casinos contained identical hidden cameras, all installed with sophisticated knowledge of machine internals. The FBI investigation concluded this was organized crime, not a manufacturer defect, because the devices were installed after delivery and placement on casino floors. According to a former security director who managed the crisis response, casinos paid confidential settlements to hundreds of players whose banking information may have been compromised, with total payouts estimated at $4.7 million. The public announcement blamed technical issues and said nothing about the security breach because casino management feared the publicity would destroy customer trust across the entire property. 3 documented cases of identity theft were directly linked to players who had used these specific machines. The manufacturer proved the surveillance devices were installed post-delivery and avoided any liability. Every unit was pulled from casino floors within 48 hours of discovery, but the criminal investigation continued for 14 months before resulting in 2 arrests. Casino security protocols changed industry-wide, with mandatory tamper-evident seals and more frequent physical inspections of machine housings, but players never learned the real reason their favorite machines suddenly disappeared overnight. If you think that discovery represents the most disturbing removal, machine number 10 was pulled because the casino itself was actively cheating players using remote access technology. A Royal Riches premiere became the centerpiece of an internal conspiracy where floor managers used tablets to adjust return-to-player percentages in real time. According to whistleblower testimony that later became part of a gaming commission investigation, supervisors would drop machines from 90% down to 85% during Friday and Saturday evening peak hours, then return settings to normal during slow periods when fewer players were present. The scheme continued for 8 months before the manufacturer's own remote monitoring system flagged unusual configuration changes. A gaming commission surprise audit confirmed the manipulation, and the investigation revealed players had been defrauded of an estimated $960,000. 3 casino employees faced criminal charges, and 2 were eventually convicted of fraud. The casino paid a $2.1 million fine and faced a 6-month license suspension threat. Gaming regulators forced the property to post public notice of the manipulation, and all Royal Riches machines were pulled immediately. The commission required the casino to attempt restitution for affected players, but identifying specific victims proved impossible because the manipulation affected thousands of individual gaming sessions. A settlement fund was established instead, distributing money to anyone who could prove they played during the affected time period. The story briefly reached national news before the casino's public relations team contained the damage, but regular players abandoned the property for months, and revenue dropped 23%. The incident led to new regulations strictly limiting remote adjustment capabilities, but former technicians privately admit similar access still exists in newer machine models. The final two machines on this list represent the future of casino manipulation, and exactly why this former CEO decided he could no longer participate in an industry moving toward technological exploitation that crosses every ethical boundary. Machine number 11, Empire Jackpot 5R. This machine represented the first virtual reality slot experience on a Las Vegas casino floor, and players lined up for the novelty of wearing a headset that transformed traditional gambling into an immersive digital world. What nobody disclosed was that the headset was tracking far more than just where players looked. According to a former data analyst who worked on the system, the device monitored eye movement patterns, a heart rate through facial blood flow detection, and stress responses measured through micro-expressions. The machine used this biometric feedback to optimize what internal documents called addiction potential in real time. If your heart rate spiked during a near-miss spin, the algorithm would increase near-miss frequency by 40% during your next sequence of spins. The terms of service mentioned user experience data collection, but said nothing about biometric surveillance or physiological manipulation. A security researcher examining the machine's source code published findings that exposed the hidden data collection, and privacy advocates immediately called it predatory neurological manipulation. The Nevada Gaming Control Board ordered immediate removal pending a full privacy review, but the regulatory framework had no existing rules specifically addressing biometric data use in gambling devices. The casino initially defended the system by claiming data was processed in real time but never stored, a claim that fell apart when subpoenaed servers revealed 14 months of detailed biometric profiles on more than 8,000 individual players. The class action settlement reached $3.8 million, and the machines never returned to any casino floor. One player documented across multiple sessions how the machine appeared to learn his patterns, making it progressively more difficult to walk away as the system refined its psychological model of his vulnerability. Several states now explicitly ban biometric data collection in gaming devices, but according to this former CEO, the technology still exists in newer forms, just better hidden in systems that do not require obvious equipment like VR headsets. And that brings us to machine number 12, the one that made this casino executive quit his career and risk everything to go public. Infinite Prosperity Series was never actually installed on a casino floor, but it reached the demonstration phase where this CEO watched engineers present the technology to his board of directors. But the machine linked directly to players' club card data and used artificial intelligence to create a completely personalized gambling experience based on years of historical behavior. According to his later testimony to gaming regulators, the AI analyzed patterns to identify what developers proudly called each player's pain threshold, the exact point where they would quit gambling and leave the casino. The algorithm would deliver a small win precisely before that predicted quit point, extending average session length by 47 minutes compared to standard machines. Performance projections showed the system would generate 31% more revenue per player, and the board enthusiastically approved development funding. The CEO attended a demonstration where engineers showed how the system flagged players showing problem gambling indicators and automatically adjusted to maximize what they called lifetime value extraction. But he watched the algorithm identify an elderly woman as a high-value, vulnerable target based on her increasing bet sizes and progressively longer sessions tracked over 6 months. He went to the board recommending against deployment and was overruled in a vote that happened the same afternoon. He resigned immediately and took documentation to the Gaming Commission, triggering an unprecedented regulatory investigation that seized all prototype machines. And the manufacturer claimed the technology was misunderstood and denied targeting vulnerable players. But 3 states banned the artificial intelligence system before it ever reached a single casino floor. Legal battles continue years later, and the former CEO remains under non-disclosure restrictions, but speaks carefully about his concerns. He warns that similar AI-driven personalization systems are being developed under different names. And machine number 12 represents the future casinos want, which is exactly why these 12 removals matter more than just historical incidents. These 12 machines disappeared from casino floors for reasons ranging from technical malfunctions to criminal conspiracies to ethical violations that cross lines even gambling executives could not ignore. The pattern connecting every removal tells you something casinos desperately want hidden, that they protect profits and limit liability, but almost never prioritize player protection unless forced by regulators or threatened by lawsuits that would cost more than the revenue at stake. From the simple programming error in Mega Meltdown to the artificial intelligence exploitation system in Infinite Prosperity series, the escalation reveals an industry moving toward increasingly sophisticated psychological manipulation that operates faster than regulatory frameworks can possibly address. Yet this former CEO's testimony exposed what he calls the tip of the iceberg, suggesting these 12 documented cases represent a fraction of machines that should concern anyone who gambles. Combined, these removals involved over $15 million in settlements, fines, and documented fraud. And the timeline spanning from 2016 through 2023 proves this remains an active ongoing issue rather than historical misconduct that has been corrected. Former executives who have left the industry suggest that for every machine removed from casino floors, dozens with similar manipulative features continue operating because they have not yet triggered the specific circumstances that force removal. The machines generating the highest revenue per square foot are often the most psychologically exploitative, creating a fundamental conflict between profit maximization and ethical operation that self-regulation cannot resolve. Its technology development accelerates far faster than regulatory evaluation, meaning new machines incorporating sophisticated manipulation techniques reach casino floors and operate for years before oversight bodies understand what behavioral tactics are actually being deployed. Your complete gambling history across every casino visit is being collected, analyzed, and used to identify your specific vulnerabilities in ways that become more personalized with each session you play. The industry frames this as enhanced player experience and customized entertainment, but internal documents from these removal cases reveal the actual goal is maximizing what they measure as lifetime value extraction from each individual player. The casino CEO, at the center of the Machine 12 revelation, spent 15 years in casino management before watching that artificial intelligence demonstration became his breaking point. But he calculated that decisions he made during his career contributed to hundreds of millions in player losses, and the guilt of optimizing systems designed to exploit human psychological vulnerabilities finally exceeded his ability to rationalize the work as simply providing entertainment. Speaking out meant violating non-disclosure agreements, accepting industry blacklisting, and losing relationships with colleagues who viewed his testimony as betrayal. But he now consults with gaming commissions and problem gambling organizations, trying to create regulatory frameworks that address technologies most people do not know exist. Mainstream media largely ignores these stories because casino advertising revenue makes publishers reluctant to investigate the industry too aggressively. Understanding that these specific machines were removed helps you identify warning signs in current machines that incorporate similar features but have not yet triggered the circumstances that force removal. When you recognize patterns described in these cases appearing in games you play today, that awareness provides your only defense against manipulation techniques designed by teams of psychologists and data scientists specifically to overcome your rational decision-making. Yet if a machine seems deliberately designed to create frustration followed by precisely timed small wins that keep you playing, report your observations to your state gaming commission, because regulatory action only happens when player complaints create documentation that forces investigation. Casinos continue deploying increasingly sophisticated manipulation technology, and each removed machine gets replaced by something more subtle but equally exploitative. Well, information and awareness represent your only real protection in an environment designed to extract maximum money while keeping you engaged long enough to exceed whatever limit you set before you started playing. Subscribe for more insider information. Casinos spend millions to keep from public discussion, and comment which of these 12 machines you have personally encountered on casino floors. Share this video with anyone who gambles regularly. Because this information could save them thousands of dollars and help them recognize when they are being manipulated by systems designed specifically to exploit the exact psychological vulnerabilities that make them continue playing long after they intended to stop.